Hello, everyone. I hope everyone can hear us. Oh, actually, Daniela, I can't hear you. Are you unmuted?
Hello, testing 1, 2,
Yes,
3.
yes. Now I
All
can hear
right, there we go.
you.
Awesome. Cool. So I think we're good
Okay,
for
great.
to get started. Yeah, just so everyone knows, there is a chat there. So if you guys have questions, type those questions into chat, and we will try our best to answer them on the go, or we'll leave them for the end as well.
And there's a grinder for your recommendation in the chat for you, Daniela.
Oh, those burr grinders are expensive, like the really good ones, but it's on my life bucket list.
Yeah, I definitely understand. So, as mentioned, we're going to be talking about how to do imports to pretty much update your products. And these can be done really quickly depending on what it is, but it's also helpful if you just want to like make a mass change, like change all your category names from 2019 products to 2020 products to 2021 products, something like that. And yeah, so there's pretty much three basic steps, which is just exporting your information from inFlow, then making that change on the CSV, and then re-importing your CSV to inFlow. So that's what we'll be doing in this webinar. And you'll see that anytime that you want to um, make a change for all your products or just a few of your products, you can do this method so that you can update everything really quickly instead of going one by one. I just wanted to put a quick reminder here that this is not exclusive for products. So you can also do this by updating your reorder points with the reorder point export page, which is only available in inFlow Cloud. You can also update your stock levels like this, and select fields on sales orders can be updated with this same method. So it'll be different fields you'll be changing, but pretty much the same theory will be there. Okay. So something that I wanted to keep in mind, everyone to keep in mind, is that when you're importing, the one thing that has to remain constant is that inFlow needs to know the product name. It has to match what's already in inFlow. So if you are, in order to update any items, the item name has to be the exact same match. If it's not the exact same match from inFlow, it will create a new item. But you pretty much get around having any mismatched item names when you export from inFlow in the first place, because these are the names that inFlow already knows. Okay, so sorry if I went too fast, but I definitely think when I do the demo, it will all make sense. And speaking of which, time to demo. So I'm just going to show pretty much both on the web version of inFlow and on the desktop Windows version of inFlow how to do this. It's pretty much the exact same. They just look ever so slightly different. So hopefully this
And
will
you
play
make
nice.
a really good point about the item name and how the item name is the unique identifier in inFlow. I say that all the time
Mhm.
with users. And if you're ever needing to, I guess, make sure that your item name and your imports are exactly as they appear in inFlow, export those products out of inFlow and then update that CSV file with whatever columns or changes you need to make. But it just ensures that your item name is exactly the same with an export. So you can use that for other imports, obviously, or other use cases, but
Mhm.
that's easiest way.
Oh, actually, so I'm on a Mac computer, and that's, now that we have mainly a lot of features on Windows in inFlow Cloud, you can access a lot of these on a Mac. But I also do have everything available on Parallels, which is what allows me to access Windows from my Mac. So I just want to keep that in mind for customers. Like if you are using a Mac, we recommend Chrome um, over any other browsers, but you can definitely access this with a Mac. But actually, I'm going to open this here on Windows just so you can get a good comparison of both. So the first step, as I mentioned, is to export. So when I first log into inFlow Cloud on the web version, you're going to just get to our main homepage here. So you're just going to click on that main menu button in the top left-hand corner. and then click export. So from here, you're going to want to select the data type that you're exporting. And for this presentation, we're just doing product details. But as mentioned, you can export stock levels, customers, vendors, purchase orders, and update them like this. I don't believe purchase orders yet, but I might be wrong on that. And
Not
then
yet, I don't
also,
think.
not yet, right? Okay.
Mhm.
And then reorder settings too. So this is a good way of just updating anything that you have a lot of. So there we go. All I have to do is just hit OK. And now I can save this on my computer. So it's just going to ask where I want to save this file. So I can just hit save and done. And then going to pretty much the Windows app, it's very similar, not quite the same. Oh, sorry. My computer is working a little bit harder because I do have both the Mac side and the Windows side open, so it might be a little bit slow. But just as an example, you just click on the main menu button here, go to General, and then Export Data. From here, you'll just select the product details from the data type dropdown. Click Browse for wherever you want to save it, which is pretty much what I just did from the website. And there's the export I just did. This is one I've already prepared for re-importing. And if I want to save this again, I'll just put a 2 here and just hit save. And then that's it. So that's the first step of exporting your information from inFlow. So from here, you could just double click on your file if it's in the that bottom tray of Google Chrome, or you can look up the downloads folder to see if that's where it is, and you can add any changes you want. So uh, previously I've already made some changes to this, but I just wanted to show what it looks like as soon as it exports from inFlow. Like there is a lot of information here, but because you're not changing every field, you really don't have to worry about it. You can remove fields that you don't want to make changes to, because that can give you some peace of mind so that you know, okay, I won't overwrite this information. But if there's something you do want to change, then you would keep those fields. So the headings at the top are super important because that's what you're going to use in inFlow to match up the fields in inFlow to the fields on the CSV. So with updating, the one thing you can't update is the product name because as we mentioned, it is the unique identifier. It needs to match exactly. If you do want to change product names, that's a separate import, but it can be done and we do have articles for that. So from here, I think I'll just make a few changes just to show what I'd like. You could also have some products deactivated this way. So for example, anything that says 2019, I could just change to, let's say 2021. I could do that, just go over it manually. Or if I just want everything to be the exact same, you could always just hover over the corner of your cell, click and drag, and then it will copy everything over. So I could do the same here. If these are makeup, this is different types of makeup that I've added into this test database. So if I just put in the category as makeup, I could do the same thing, click on it, click and drag, and now all of these products have, oh, sorry, I see some feedback that the video is breaking up and it's tough to hear. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll definitely make sure that this is recorded and that we can put up a post on Facebook, sorry, not Facebook, on YouTube and actually repost it. Do you hear me okay, Daniela?
Yeah, I can hear you okay.
I don't
And
know. Yep.
maybe the stream is coming out a little bit choppy,
Okay.
um, but yeah, just for everyone to know, we will be recording this. So
Okay. So, because just in case it might be my connection, I might need you to narrate. So just in case. So let me
sounds
know
good.
and stop me at any point.
Yep.
So pretty much this is all you would need to do. For like, I'm just changing categories here. If I wanted to change the price to no longer be $25 and everything is now $22, same thing. I can add it, click and drag, and now it's all changed to 22. So the one thing you'd want to do after you make your changes is to save it and make sure it saves as a CSV. because sometimes if you hit save, it might save as a Unicode file. It's just in a weird Excel quirk. So that's something you would want to do. Now, as I mentioned, certain items I wanted to be made inactive because inFlow doesn't have a way of deleting, but you can make them inactive. So these random items that I have from cell 44 to 49, I'm going to make them so that when they are re-imported, it'll be updated as inactive. So I'm just going to go here from cell 44. I'm just going to put in false. So sorry, I realized I missed something. This heading is active. So that's pretty much what tells inFlow, is this product an active product in inFlow or is it an inactive product? So this field only listens to true or false. So everything else here is marked as true. And then now these ones are false. So if I was to like just to break this up, I would just show you where those items are. And it will, so that you'll see that when I re-import this, those items will no longer be available. So I'm just going to scroll down, and those are those active items that I want to remove right there. So I'm going to hit false back on my CSV and just drag that down. Okay, so I'm good to go here. And I think I will just re-import this. So I'll just do a save as or save just to make sure I have this saved correctly. I tend to do save as just as an extra, I don't know, safety measure to make sure I don't ruin a file or just in case. I think I'm really making my Mac work really hard. Parallels can be a little bit hard on the on a computer because it is running two operating systems. So okay, so inFlow, and I'm just gonna call this demo so I know which one to import. So that's pretty much step one complete, which is, or step one and step two complete, which is exporting from inFlow, editing that CSV, and now we're ready for step three, which is importing it back to inFlow. So I'm going to go to the Windows app here, but again, it works the exact same if you go to the web app, and I'm just going to click on the main menu button, import data. And from here, I'm just going to select the correct data type because I'm importing product details, not purchasing. So I'll hit browse. And I'm just going to look for that particular file. So the one that I called demo. So because of the region that I'm in, I'm keeping my delimiter settings as comma. And this setting here, generally it's checked on. You want to keep it on if you do have headings on your CSV file. Okay, so sorry that it's a little bit slow on my end. So here is the import page. So this is what we call mapping, and other softwares that import CSVs might also call this a mapping stage also. This is where everything on the left side is going to be a field from inFlow, and everything on this right side is going to be a field that is corresponding to your CSV and those CSV headings that we mentioned we need. So because I exported it from inFlow, inFlow already recognizes a lot of these fields. Some of them don't actually come through, some of them are blank by default. I believe that's actually by design so that you can choose to import and change that information if you want. Like I know cost is always blank because not everyone wants to change their costs on this import, but you definitely can if you have the costing method like moving average or manual that allows you to just change the cost manually. So by doing this, you can change a bunch of these different fields. As you could see, I could change, as I mentioned, the pricing. I could change taxing for it. And this is also a great way to actually, I just missed the, yeah, different prices. Like I have a retail price, a warehouse price, and if I had a third or fourth price, if you had those pricing schemes on your CSV file, then you can add in all the different prices for the different types of pricing you have. So I don't really need to do any mapping, but generally on this stage, you would look at the field here and match it to whatever is listed here and just keep going until it's all looks good. And then you could just click import.
And just in case you're ever in doubt or how you should be able, or sorry, looking for steps on how to import multiple pricing schemes or how to deactivate products in bulk, because you can do this with an import. You can search our knowledge base for those keywords, and you'll get the steps as well. So just keep that in mind.
Okay. Oh, so I see a question here. Can you create a new column for, say, a future price change and then put that in a new pricing scheme? Um, I guess that would just import as a pricing scheme. Like if you named a pricing scheme April 2021 pricing, and then you added that in there, added that onto your CSV file, then that would load through with this import. So it won't necessarily allow inFlow to adopt that pricing the moment April kicks in, just because we don't have that feature in the software yet. But if you wanted to name a pricing scheme based on a date, then you can import that in there so that you start keeping track of the different prices based on different dates that you enter in. So that could be something you could do if you wanted to put in different dates. We do recommend with pricing schemes that you try not to have too many. We have noticed that after about 50, inflow starts to really slow down because in the background, inflow is constantly calculating and constantly trying to I guess, keep track of different prices, and so it does slow it down. It's just a lot of math that it's doing. So I hope I answered your question. If not, definitely feel free to like rephrase, and then I can go over it again. So here, this page just shows that the import is going through, and then it's going to send me an email when it's done. Most times, I could, if it's a small import like what I just did, you could pretty much hit refresh, and the import is likely to have taken, like, because I see that I no longer see those files that like 1045, those random numerical ones. I'm just switching back here. Oops, I went too far on my CSV. So the ones that I wanted to remove, 1043, all of these random ones, those are now gone when I look at this because I told inFlow on that CSV for the if it's an active product that it is now false. And so, and also my categories for some of the makeup palettes I have now have, say, makeup instead of general products like what it used to have. So that's pretty much it for how you can import an update with a CSV. And also for anyone who is using just the web version, it's very similar. You would click on the main menu, and then you could go to import, select product details from the data type, and then you could drag and drop, or you could just click on it to find the file.
And actually,
Uh,
we did
Actually, I
release a
have
new
here.
feature too with the imports recently, um, on from the web app where it'll be a lot more clear how the mapping works. So I'm excited for you to show that part.
Wait, what part?
Oh, sorry. With the
Maybe I haven't even done that yet.
oh, you'll see it's actually
It'll be,
really nice. I think
it'll
you're
be
going to
new
be
for
very
me too
surprised.
then.
Oh yeah, there so many new features all the time, which is exciting. But I think you're going to be very happy about this. I hope. I was very happy about it.
The web is sorry about that. I think when I dragged and dropped, it didn't work so well. So let me look for that again. This is mainly because I just didn't want to flip back and forth between the web and my Windows side. So having it all on the Windows side is slowing it down.
And you usually recommend only running, if you are using Parallels, to only run one of the operating systems.
Uh, no, you don't really have a choice with Parallels. You have to
Oh, I
run
see.
both.
Oh, you do.
But, I also have other programs that are open, so that can slow things down. But, and I have an update to do. And whenever there's an update pending, same thing with Windows, when there's an update pending, your computer could be a little slower and then inFlow may not even open because it does
Mm-hmm.
need Windows to be up to date. So that is something that I know is affecting it. Oh, yes, I do remember this.
Mm-hmm.
It looks very different now. So it's kind of giving you a preview of what's going on here. So um, pretty much showing this is what will be added to inFlow, kind of showing you a preview. And if you want to edit the data mapping, you can click on it here. So for example, if I was to change this to something that isn't correct, let's say item type, then it would say item type, whatever is in those fields in my CSV, it's going to show that that's going to be the new name of the product. So what's nice about the web app is that it's giving you a preview of what your import will look like. And this will definitely help for removing a little bit of error just in case, you know, your like if you accidentally clicked on the wrong one, if you scroll your mouse too far and it says serial here and then it shouldn't. So that would be this is really helpful for giving a quick look at what your mapping settings are. Again, like with the desktop version or Windows version, everything is pretty much here matching because it does recognize these fields that they came from inFlow. And I could do the same thing. Even though I've already done this import, I could do it again. And it's pretty much what would happen is that um, inFlow will read the item name and read everything else on the line. And if it doesn't see anything new, it kind of just like passes over it. It's like, okay, yeah, I see that. I got it. And then the moment it finds something new, then it will update it. So because I haven't actually made any changes since I did that import just now, if I click next, it's pretty much going to say the same thing. It'll be in progress, but it'll be done very quickly.
Mm-hmm. And we do have a quick question here from Arthur. Right now they have 1,000 SKUs in inFlow. Can they export? Can they export those products out of inFlow and then say only separate 100 of those SKUs in the import file and then update those and then re-import them back into inFlow?
Yes, absolutely. You could definitely do that. And I know that that's not that method isn't always doable for everyone because some people do want to edit everything, but I actually prefer to isolate only what I want to import just because you remove any other um what's the phrase, like instance for error, I know I'm not
Yeah.
saying it right. You
Yeah.
just remove any other option of mistakes on something else on a different product if you just isolate those 100. So you can definitely do that.
Hmm.
That would be a great way to update just those if that's all you need to update.
Yeah, and like Kerisha, you mentioned that if inFlow's reading that CSV file and it notices that there are no changes made to that specific product, it's not going to change that product in any way. So you could also just keep your import file as is with those 1,000 products and just go through it and update only the products that you want, and of course
Mhm.
just re-import it back in, and then only the products that have had some change made in the CSV file will be updated. But I think you're right. If you've got a lot, it's a lot nicer or easier to isolate it and yeah, prevent errors by
Mhm.
mistake.
Yeah, because the error isn't necessarily on the inflow side. It could
Hmm.
be like if you accidentally type in the wrong field on the CSV. So it's just helpful to isolate that. But if there is an error and you're like, oh, I accidentally put this as $1 instead of $10, you could easily just re-import it again, like a third time or a fourth time, and then it will the corrected price would go on there.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so I see another question. When I open in Excel and use the data tab to open the CSV and change the product row code to text format. Last one, there was an email error saying I needed to be a number. This hasn't happened before. Okay, so it needed to be a number. Hmm.
Yeah.
I You might have to get in touch with us and we might need to see the CSV to see why that error was there. Maybe that was a field that was looking for a price, but there was text there. But I know that you mentioned that if you change the row to be text format, hmm, I might have to look into that a little bit further, Ron. If you don't mind emailing us at support@inflowinventory.com, that'd be really helpful. Or I believe I might actually be able to get access to email addresses who, if you've registered, then I could also get in touch with you there, so that we can see what's going on with your CSV, and or not just the CSV, with the error that you got from inFlow. Great, thank you. And I see that Daniela just added the contact information. Can prices be updated by a percentage? Uh, well, I guess if you do an Excel formula and
Mhm.
just say like, if there's an Excel formula and you want everything increased by X number of percent, but then I know that CSVs don't. I don't think they can handle anything with formulas. I'm not too sure, but I think if the data that is in the field, the pricing fields, is being calculated by, let's say, 2% higher, then you could re-import that and then it would be increased. Um, we also have a feature in inFlow that allows you to do that. Um, it's called product pricing, only on the Windows app, and that will allow you to pick, let's say, if you want to make an increase, you select your pricing scheme, and then you say you want to base it. Actually, I'll quick show you real quick. You would go to main menu, inventory, product pricing. And so I'm just as an example, I'm going to add everything. So first you would add all your products. So this is everything I can choose from, and this is everything I want to edit. So I'll just hit everything, which is what the double arrow does. Single arrow only picks one or two things from your list over here. So I'll hit select. So if I do want to edit the price on everything, because I did change the pricing to 22 for some of my items, I could select what pricing scheme I want to edit for, or I could change which other pricing scheme. Let's say it's normal price. I want it. You could be the cost, or it could be normal price plus, let's say, 2%. You could be $2 or 2%. So it shows what it was before, what it will be when with a preview, and like this is what it is. So if I hit adjust, then it will change everything. So this will take some time to do a little bit of work just because it has to go through all the pricing. But this is another way of doing that, which might be simpler than going through exporting and changing it in Excel and using a formula. That might be a little bit easier, but both options are available. So since I pretty much finished the exports and imports, um, and I know we've already been going through some questions, I just figured if there's any other questions, we could definitely try to go through and answer them. You can let us know. Uh, or if there's any questions about exporting and importing to update, now would be a great time, because I'd say for the process that we did, that was pretty much it. Um, Danielle, is there anything you could think of that we can add?
No, it's pretty straightforward, really. So very straightforward. Only thing I'm thinking is there might be a little bit of a lag on the chats, so we'll let any of those questions come in. But no, that's very straightforward. And I think with the web app having that preview, I think that's going to help clarify things on probably the most confusing part of imports, which is the mapping part. So
Yeah.
that's pretty exciting. So I guess maybe if you are new to importing, you can try the web app first so that you get a hang of the data mappings step, and then try the desktop app as well. Do you have a preference for imports currently, or?
I think as I'm just a creature of habit, I prefer desktop just because we're used to it from on premise
Mhm.
and used to it from when Inflow Cloud first started. It was the Windows app, so I don't use the web as often, but I find when I want to help a customer with certain things, or especially if I have customers who are Mac customers, um, I do use the web, and I use it more, especially with Mac customers, just to see how they're experiencing it. Because right now we don't have everything available on the web. We're slowly building that up. So it's just good to also, just keep both of them, the knowledge for both of them updated. But I generally for importing, I think just because I'm so used to it, I prefer the Windows app.
Nice, yeah. I think me
Yeah.
too at this point.
Yeah. So, oh, there's a question. An error log, is there an error log or any way to see if it did not match an added product? So that should be emailed to you. If it's not, do let us know. But it doesn't necessarily, the log or the error in your email may not say exactly what it is. I know when I was speaking with a customer, one of them one of the errors did mention not having dashes, and there was a dash in a price field. So sometimes it will say either the item already exists. If it says that, then it pretty much means the item you're adding is already in your database. But it won't necessarily say it doesn't match, because if a product does not match and it's not in your system, it will just create a new product for you. So it will, the inflow error to your email will also just say check CSV line, let's say 18, 20. It'll tell you what line to check. And normally you might be able to spot whatever might be wrong from looking at that line.
The one thing that you can sort of use is, so yeah, after every import, you're going to get a confirmation email, and if you are expecting there to be absolutely no new product added, then what you won't see is an error that says, or rather a confirmation message that says no. I think it says no new lines added, or if inFlow did have to create a new product, it will say 10 new lines added. And then it'll also tell you, let's say, 500 lines updated. So if it says a line has been updated, that means that product already exists and it's been updated. If it says a line has been created, that means a product has been created. It won't tell you which product
Hmm.
or anything like that, but you can sort of at least get some sort of confirmation if a new product has been created
Yeah.
with an import.
So yes, for Jim, with on-premise, it will say that on the I just lost it on the importer on the import window, because with cloud it says it send you an email shortly. Instead, with inflow on premise, it will pretty much be loading the import, and then it will tell you once it's done, as Daniela just mentioned, like 10 lines created, which equals 10 products were created, or 10 lines updated, and then it will tell you which lines on the CSV, if there's any errors, you need to look at. So it'll show you that on premise. That's maybe the major difference with importing on premise versus importing in cloud, is that one of them will let you keep working. And then with on premise, you kind of need to let that window run its course before you can go back to on premise and continue working.
Yeah. And just to confirm, you won't be able to, it won't tell you which line item has been updated. It's the error it'll tell, if there is an error, it'll tell you which line item, or sorry, line in your import file needs to be checked. Uh,
Yes.
but yeah, you won't be able to tell, unfortunately, right now which items have been updated or have been created with an import.
Yeah, it just tells you in bulk like 20 lines updated, but it won't say which 20. But at least you'll know which lines have an error. So that's at least helpful.
Hmm.
So yeah, that information is there for both inflow on premise and inflow cloud. It's just one of them. Inflow cloud will give you an email with that, and then inflow on premise will have it on screen.
Yes.
So yeah. So is there any other questions that anyone has?
I've got one that just came in.
Okay,
So
great.
there's a problem. One problem with CSV imports is if your item number starts with 0, it removes the 0. So yeah, removing the leading zeros. Hmm. I do think that it's an Excel. Could it be an Excel issue where it's Excel that's removing the leading zeros if it's a number?
Yeah,
Um,
that is something that we have an article about, and it unfortunately it's an Excel thing, and so I believe you got to change the formatting of those particular cells as text, I believe.
yeah, I think it's text.
Yeah, change it as text, and then it will pretty much treat those zeros as if it's as if it's a part of the alphabet, and it will leave it and it won't touch it, and then you could re-import it into inflow. So I believe that was the only where work around it. You have to use that text to columns feature. I do find this is just something I've noticed with Excel. If you double click on a CSV file after you've downloaded it, you don't always get the options to select which columns are open in a certain way. Let me see if I can actually um, reproduce it. But if you go to Excel and go to File Open, then it gives you that CSV settings, which allows you to choose how each column is going to be open. So let me see if I can just get out of full screen mode here. So I'm just gonna close this. So as an example, I do have a few files here. So when I just double click any of these, I don't get any settings on how to pretty much how to treat the individual columns and cells in um, in Excel so that I can import it. It just opens it up for me. But what I've noticed is if I go to File, Open, so you just have to do this in order to have, I guess, a bit better control over how you're opening your files. Now, Excel does this too. You have to change it to see every file, not just Excel-based files. And I can select, let's see this one at the top. Um, Now I have this wizard here. This is the wizard I'm talking about. So from here, I can select and make certain columns to be text files rather than whatever Excel automatically has chosen for me. So when I look at this on the other side, it's kind of decided for me how it's going to open up all these columns. But if you open it by doing a CSV by going File, Open, and then clicking on Delimited by hitting Next here, you want to separate everything by column, and this is all in an article, so you don't have to have this memorized at all.
Mhm.
So this is going to show you how it's going to divide up all of the columns, similar to how it's all divided up here. And then from here, I'm just going to hit next. And then if depending on which, sometimes it's barcodes that are often have the leading zero, anything that has a leading zero, um, where the zero gets stripped at the beginning, you can then, instead of keeping it as general, you can change that as text and then hit finish. And then it should go in without having any problem, and it won't strip the zero at the beginning of your barcodes or any of those fields. So that is a way around that, or you can do that from already having the Excel already open. But I find that's an easy way of doing it from just from the starts, because if you double click on your file and you already lost the zeros, then you're kind of having to work to get them back. So I find just opening it with save as open file open helps so that you can set the CSV so that it opens correctly.
Awesome. And thanks. And Tamim did post that article in the chats in case you need to reference those steps. That's also in our knowledge base, of course, so you can go in and search for, I think if you search for leading zeros, you'll get that article as well.
Yeah.
Doesn't look
Yeah,
like
unfortunately, I
there's,
wish we could get around that. It's just a bit
yeah,
of an Excel quirk, and so I don't know if it's the same for Google Sheets, but it's definitely something that we definitely have worked with a lot of customers who've had that trouble.
yeah.
Mhm.
Enough that we wrote an article about it, so good.
Yes.
Looks
Okay.
like no more questions. Maybe we'll cut it then in maybe a few minutes if nothing else comes in. Um, there might be a bit of a lag, but just in case, our webinars are always posted on our webinars page. And I'm going to post that article, or sorry, that link one more time, but it's just on our website. You can always scroll to our to the very bottom of our website and find our webinars page. Let's see here. And that's where all of our webinars, even past webinars, we've got lots now that you can check out just there.
Hmm. And we have a few other videos on our YouTube page. So if you want to do that, you could also check out all the other videos we have there too.
And one other question here. Is there a way we can add one item to multiple subdepartments? Do you mean like categories, subcategories? So having, okay. So no, unfortunately, each item can only be a part of one category, which includes subcategory as well. So only one category, subcategory per product.
Yeah, we could definitely take note of that and add that to our feature database because we do track all of our features.
Yes.
Mhm. Thank you, everyone who has come in. I do see some people might be departing for right now. Thanks again. Our webinar is over, so if you do have any other questions, you can feel free to ask now. Otherwise, feel free to leave now, and we can email you for the next one. Bye,
Yeah.
everyone. Oh, so what's that other question there? So we have subcategory managers who see only that category.
Hmm.
I see. So I guess I guess that's another reason why they would want more than one category. If certain
Mm.
managers only work with and only see one category at a time. I don't know if that's going to be even be in restrict access by location. Probably not.
No, I don't think so. But there is product. So could, hmm,
Yeah, it just sounds like right now that would be something I would mention as a feature request for sure.
yeah. If you'd like, you can reach out to us. Oh, I see. So, but there is product. Okay. Hmm. It might be something then to consider perhaps using a custom field instead. So if you're using categories to just organize your inventory, you can use a custom field instead where it's just an extra field where you can store data about a product or even on transactions. So especially if you need to categorize a product in multiple ways, um, the custom field might be might be worth checking out. Let me see if I can post that in the chat as well. That way you can use custom fields to filter out your product lists. So if, for example, the if you're a car manufacturer and you're keeping track of the model of the car, inFlow doesn't have a field currently to track model. So you can create a custom field and name it model and then add that model in for every product. So
Mhm.
Toyota or et cetera. And then you can use that custom field to filter out your products and see all of the products that belong to a specific model or custom field. So I wonder if that might help as a workaround in the meantime.
Yeah, we. I think if anything, it might be good if we can get a little bit more information and see if we can come up with something
Yeah.
that could help. But I think custom fields would already be a good start for you for sure.
Yeah, feel free to reach out to us over live chat or over email if you'd like, and we'll get some more information about what the situation is for you, and then maybe we can suggest something a little bit better than custom fields if it's available.
Hmm.
Okay, so it doesn't look like any other questions for now. So I guess we'll call it. And
Yeah, so we can call it. I know we have another webinar for next month. We'll definitely uh, email to let everyone know what that will be about. And yeah, any feedback even on how the webinar was. Like I know some people did have some audio issues, so if anything, any feedback would also be helpful for us too. So do let us know at support@inflowinventory.com. So I think
awesome,
that's it.
awesome. Thank you. Thanks
All
everyone.
right, great. Thank you. Bye.
All right, bye.